The future of the Road Wild main event participants looked uncertain, as with the political and creative structure in the company aside with both having a role in the process. Reports were coming from WCW during the week on Hogan injuring his knee during the TV tag match last week, along with Nash scheduled to be written off and take a break after the match with a plan to return with Scott Hall. WCW started the unopposed hour with Harlem Heat's first match back in over a year after building to it in the last month, going 8 minutes with Bigelow and Kanyon as well as setting up Page vs. Benoit for later. President Sting came out saying that this week he's the one who needs a partner, calling out Bill Goldberg to team up with him in the main event to a big pop, leaving the answer open, telling viewers that he will be back at the top of the hour at 9 p.m. to get Goldberg's response in the crossover segment. Hogan came out without the Hollywood beard look to hype up the Nash match, calling him out for tonight. Sting returned to the ring a few minutes from the top of the hour for the Goldberg response, ending up with him being attacked by Rick and C backstage, including getting a legit cut at the back of his head from the shovel bump. Both then attacked Sting with Goldberg eventually making the save to set up the match in the main event. While the segment was promoted for 9, the angle was over just as the show turned the hour, with the first head-to-head quarter starting with a recap and a commercial break, in either a timing issue or done on purpose to make sure as many people as possible are watching the big angle to hype the match. A week after a record viewership, Raw started with an unusual format as with Vince McMahon off television, Taker and Show, Austin and Rock all yet to arrive in the building. The Acolytes opened the show calling out Taker and Show after their match last night on Heat, with Shane McMahon's first response promo for Vince's end of an era hyped for later. After the first segment, the next 30 minutes, which featured mostly commercials and video recaps, saw WCW drop to some of its lowest numbers in years until starting to pick up at 9:45. Raw started to pick up from the second quarter, jumping around 1 million viewers for Edge vs. Gangrel going 8 minutes in the first ever bloodbath match, and Shane McMahon's first response promo to Vince losing the match last Sunday. Shane said that after 27 years of building the industry, Vince deserved the biggest farewell party of all time, instead of being mocked on the way out by the fans Austin and JR. Saying that Vince made the company the best built brand in the entertainment universe, and is responsible for making every single top star currently on the roster, as well as the majority of the roster at Ted Turner's WCW. WCW had the end of the tag match and aired the Goldberg Megadeth video package in another commercial-filled quarter, with Raw continuing to climb, jumping another 900,000 viewers for a loaded segment with the end of the Shane promo and a Taker and Show vs. Kane and Road Dogg tag match, replacing X-Pac, who was selling the injury. Test came out during the Shane promo telling him that he's gonna take the posse one by one until getting to Shane, continue the build to their scheduled SummerSlam match. After the last 30 minutes, Nitro picked up over 600,000 viewers for an unscheduled Rick Steiner coming out after Scott Hudson made constant comments on him during the backstage angle earlier, throwing him in the ring and beating him down to write him off TV and end his well-received stint as the show's lead announcer, while putting heat on Steiner in the build to his Goldberg pay-per-view match, with Tony set to return next Monday. Doing an injury angle with Eric selling it big and staying on commentary for the rest of the show. While Raw had the end of the Taker show versus Kane and Road Dogg tag, Rock arriving and Billy Gunn coming out for a promo. In an interesting situation, Goldberg, in addition to a pizza commercial with men airing in the last month, made several appearances during Raw on the USA Network. While it wasn't the dream scenario talked about with a shocking move to the WWF during his contract dispute with the company, Goldberg had several commercials for his upcoming Universal Soldier movie during Raw. With Nitro starting the third hour with Saturn vs. Hennigan, the first half of Page Benoit. Billy Gunn and Chyna opened Raw's second hour, cutting a promo on Rock with their now official pay-per-view match on August 22nd, set to be the biggest match in Gunn's career. As Rock showed up on the Titantron, continuing to turn his routine weekly segments to all-time great performances, telling Gunn that if he hits him he will kill him, if he misses the wind behind the punch will give him pneumonia and he will die anyway. Hyping up their SummerSlam match on August 22nd. The Rock-Billy Gunn segment, along with a Jarrett vs. D'Lo Brown title versus title match going 6 minutes with D'Lo taking both belts, peaked the night with a 6.7 rating. WCW established the card for the Road Wild pay-per-view all booked in advance, unlike some shows in previous months where the full card outside the main matches wasn't announced. This time the company ran hype spots for the matches, with the pay-per-view said to be one of the most stacked shows of the year, with almost every top name booked in a high-profile match. After the top of the hour segment peak, there was a direct turnover, with WCW jumping over 1 million viewers to a show-high 3.4 quarter rating and Raw dropping to a 5.6. WCW had the finish of the 8-minute Page vs. Benoit match, and Randy Savage coming out for a promo, telling Rodman that they will meet at Sturgis but calling him out right now, bringing out Mona to the ring asking Savage to accept her back to the team, with Savage reconsidering and telling her that she's still fired, as Rodman showed up on stage. With Rodman and Savage both having microphones on live television, sending the TNT censorship into panic, with both aggressively cursing each other in a strong exchange to build up the match in 2 weeks. With Mona turning on Savage to give Rodman the opening to attack, before asking for the microphone again, and Eric on commentary telling production to go to a commercial break. Steve Austin came out for his first appearance at around 10:20, hyping his SummerSlam match with Triple H. Issues with Austin came up during the week, as reportedly the original script for Raw had to be changed. With Austin known to want to work with a select few performers, on Raw taped on July 27, Russo and Ferraro offered Austin to be involved in matches with Billy Gunn and Jeff Jarrett, Gunn as part of the two main programs with Rock and Hunter, and Jarrett after setting the stage for it in the last month, along with a real-life connection with Deborah, ending up with Austin turning down the Jarrett angle, saying that he's not over enough, with them having legit heat all the way back to Jarrett burying Austin's 316 saying in 1997, resulting in a late change to the Raw format, with Taker and Show coming out to attack Austin and set up an Austin vs. Taker rematch instead of the possible Jarrett match. In another angle before the match, Triple H arrived hearing that Taker is getting a title match before his shot at the pay-per-view. The end of the TV broadcast of this Raw added another major issue as Steve Austin injured his knee during an off-the-air brawl with Hunter, putting his condition for SummerSlam in doubt with him taken off his scheduled house show appearances. Hogan came out just before the main event for the Nash Challenge, ending up with him taking Bobby Heenan's place and Hogan and Eric doing commentary for the Goldberg and Sting vs. Steiner and Seed tag match. Raw jumped around 900,000 viewers back into the 6 rating range for the final quarter, starting with Test taking another member of the Posse on the way to Shane. With both shows going up against heavier sports competition, the combined audience was expected to be down from last week's huge viewership, with the WWF setting the stage for what is set to be one of the biggest and most publicized Raw shows of the year next Monday in Chicago, with the wrestling television return of Governor Jesse Ventura in addition to the reveal of the Millennium Clock set to expire at around 10 p.m. During the night, Seed was calling himself the man of the new millennium in reference to the clock on Raw, while the expected debuting Millennium Man worked his final WCW match on July 21st, teaming with Eddie against Trey and Kidman. On top of that, another major addition to the WWF is expected to come soon as ECW's Dudleys reached an agreement with the company. WCW's main event jumped big with over 1.3 million viewers to a peak 4 rating, ending up with Nash powerbombing Hogan through the announcer's table, while Raw's promoted Austin vs. Taker match was about to start about 3 minutes in the overrun, including having 2 minutes unopposed, ending up with Triple H coming out to stop the match and a big brawl starting in the ring to close the show. While the Raw closing credits appeared on screen, it was the end of an era and the start of a new one, as the usual Titan Sports was replaced by World Wrestling Federation Entertainment, with the company announcing plans to go public.